हंगामा क्यों करते हैं हम पोटेंशियल कि इसको अनलॉक कर लो? We have our parents advising us to unlock potential. Old people like me coming and saying unlock, unlock, unlock. You have your teachers, your faculty, your mentors, probably your friends also telling you unlock your potential. You read about it. Why is there so much of tamasha around it? There is so much of tamasha around it because if we unlock potential, then these three things will happen to us. है ना? फिर तो भैया लाइफ सेट है, नेम है, फेम है, पैसा है, ठीक है, डॉलर नहीं आएंगे अक्षय कुमार की तरह, रुपया ही गिरेगा, चलता, जितना भी जो भी पैसा गिरता है अच्छा ही है ना. So it means a lot to be able to unlock one's potential, because it can give you name, it can give you fame, it can give you money. So naturally it looks very important. But there is another dimension to this whole business of potential and unlocking potential. And that's what I want to talk about in the next 2 to 3 minutes. How many of you can tell me who are these two gentlemen who are visible on the screen? You can unmute yourself and tell me, or probably you can put it up in chat. Anybody? Can you identify the two people I'm showing on the screen?
Someone has written in the chat box, Anil Kumble.
Anil Kumble. And who is the other one? Fair enough. He could not, probably he is not somebody of your generation. He is a gentleman by name Shane Warne. As Shah Rukh Khan says, naam to suna hi hoga, Shane Warne. So he's Shane Warne. Now, who is this third gentleman? This third gentleman is not somebody that any one of us would know. Even people of my generation, if I show them this image, they will not recognize who he is. He is a gentleman by name Rajendra Goel. While Anil Kumble has 700 plus wickets in Test cricket, Shane Warne has 800 plus or 700 or whatever it is. Rajendra Goel had 600, picked up 600 wickets. But the beauty is he never played for India. All his 600 wickets came in Ranji Trophy cricket. एक भी मैच उन्होंने इंडिया के लिए नहीं खेला. उनमें पोटेंशियल था, ऑफ कोर्स था, इसीलिए उन्होंने वो 600 विकेट्स ले पाए. But did he get the name that Anil Kumble and Shane Warne have? No. Honestly, if he walks past us, we will not even recognize who he is. So potential and unlocking potential may not always be associated with name. Right? Then, who are these two gentlemen in the picture now? ये तो बताना ही पड़ेगा. One, of course, is Ratan Tata. The other, of course, is Narayan Murthy. All of us know them, all of us admire them, all of us respect them. They are cited as examples. Their names are taken with respect by everybody, not just in India, but across the world, as it were. Now, who is this nice-looking old lady? Can anyone tell me? Fair enough. I don't think any one of us would know this lady. She is a lady whose name is Kamala Tal. She lives in Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu in Chennai. And she runs a hotel and she sells food for 1 rupee. You can go and have food at her hotel even today in 2021 for 1 rupee. Is she somebody who has lived up to her potential in life? In my view, yes. Is she as famous as these two other people whom we see on the other side of the slide? No. So we looked at name, we looked at fame. So potential always, or unlocking potential may not always result in fame also. Let's look at this slightly further. Can anybody tell me who is this gentleman? Okay, somebody can type it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and tell me.
The reply is coming. It's founder of Byju's.
Founder of Byju's, उनका नाम भी हुआ है ना? Founder of Byju's थोड़ी हुआ है. What is his name? Yes, that you're right. By the way, you're right. Whoever has responded, you're right. It is the founder of Byju's, and his name is Ravindra. Okay. So he runs this huge edutech empire, which is worth billions of dollars today, which imparts education to children across the world. Can anybody tell me who is this person? Any responses, Vishruti?
None yet.
None yet. Okay. Let's give it another 5 seconds. Fair enough. We might have heard of him, but we would not recognize his photograph. इनका नाम है सलमान खान. चुलबुल पांडे नहीं, ये दूसरे सलमान खान. He runs Khan Education, which provides free classes for children of various age groups in various subjects. He has created lessons, he's created videos, he and his team, and they have put it up on the net. So it is available for all for free. Now, let us look at this third person. Who is he? None of us would recognize him. Even I didn't know till about a few days back. He is a guard in an ATM in Dehradun, an ex-serviceman, an ex-army man, who after finishing his work every day teaches children in the nearby slums. He spends money from his pocket to buy them textbooks, to buy them pencils, to buy them notebooks, and he teaches them every day. 3 people in the same education space. Who has lived up to their potential? All the 3. Brajendra ji, nobody will know. Salman Khan, we know only one Salman Khan. And probably Ravindran is much better recognized. So the point I'm trying to draw is potential, or unleashing your potential, may or may not be accompanied with name, fame, and money. Always. Another dimension, it is all relative. If I have 10 rupees, I feel rich, and I am jealous of Vishruti who has 100 rupees. Because I feel she is more successful than. So the moot point is unlocking potential. Sorry. The moot point is because unlocking potential may not always result in name, fame, and money. And let us not forget this fact. I don't want to, couch it in nice words. It may not always. So what is the big part? Again, Vishruti's question, क्यों करे भैया potential unlock पे? नहीं करना है हमें. Unlock जब potential करेंगे आप अपना, even then you have to do, because then 3 things happen with you. This is something that you can live comfortably with. You will be able to love what you're doing, and you will be able to laugh and lead a comfortable life. A Rajendra Goyal is still happy in his life. A Kamalatal is still happy with her life. She lives comfortably. She has the love of everybody and she's able to laugh comfortably, as are the other people also. Even a Brijendra is able to do that. So the moot point is unlocking our potential should be directed towards something that we will like to do throughout our life. We will love doing it throughout our life. And we should be able to have those moments when we can enjoy and laugh about what we do. So that for me is unlocking potential. Then comes the next question. And this is one question that that came up. So one of you had asked me, had sent this question to Abhi also. How do I decide what is it that I need to do? ये सब तो अच्छा लगा, चलो ठीक है, हमको भी पसंद है, जॉनी लीवर भी पसंद है हमें, हम भी लिव करेंगे, हम भी लव करेंगे, हम भी लाफ करेंगे. So how do I find my potential? How do I find out what is it that I am good at? A simple thing that one can look at doing is, what I call the swag. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What is your attitude towards things? And based on these, what are the goals you set for yourself? If these are clear, we will be far more clearer on what is our potential actually. What is it that we like? What is it that we are good at? And what is it we are good at is not seeing Netflix. दिन में 12 घंटे Netflix देखता हूँ, मुझे बहुत पसंद है. That is not a strength. Okay. So what is your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What is your attitude towards things? I will just give you a simple example here. A young girl of your age group always desired to be a chef. And this actually happened with a friend of mine. His cousin sister, she always wanted to be a chef. And she studied hotel management for that. And she joined a decent sized hotel. Now, typically hotels mein kya hota hai, the first time you join there, for about 10-15 days, you have to peel onions and potatoes. That is all they will give you as work. So she was also given that work, and within 2-3 days, she got fed up of doing that, and she decided, mujhe chef nahi banna hai. And all the time, energy, effort, money that she had spent in doing her course came down to being a waste. Does that mean she failed in her potential? No, probably her potential is elsewhere. But it is important that we understand that if we want to do something, what is it that goes into it? That will help us have a better idea of what is it that we want. So this is the first part that I wanted to talk about. Why should one be looking at unlocking our potential? It is important to unlock our potential, even if it may not result in name, fame, money, etc., because it will help us live comfortably. It will help us do something that we love doing. And it will help us lead a life where we can laugh. So, moving on to the next part, and that is how I would define unlocking potential. It is the effort that we have to and we must put into building something that can translate into something better for us. So now we have seen the why. Now let us see what are the how. How do we actually go about unlocking our potential? And there are 4 things that matter a lot. And this is universal, ladies and gentlemen, irrespective of the field one is in, irrespective of the gender one has, irrespective of where we are situated in the world. These 4 principles are extremely important. The first one is If you have to unlock your potential, one needs to be disciplined. Otherwise, there is no way that we can unlock our potential. Let's suppose you want to have a healthy body. You can't say, "Yaar, mahine mein ek baar gym jaunga main." If you go to the gym once a month, six pack nahi banenge bhaiya. It is not going to happen. One needs to be disciplined. It requires effort. It requires investment in time every day. That is how champions make a mark. I mean, look at this guy in this picture, Neeraj Chopra. He must be 2-3 years elder to all of us, all of you, or probably 3-4 years elder to you. If he can have that discipline at that age, why can't we? He is able to invest that discipline in unlocking what he is good at. Can't we not invest that same time, energy, and effort in unlocking the potential at what we are good at? So the first element is discipline. That's very, very important. The second is ambition. It is very, very important for us to be ambitious about what is it that we want to achieve. A lot of us struggle with wanting to be ambitious. But believe me, being ambitious is extremely critical. Only when we are ambitious will we again build that discipline. Will we focus on our strengths? And that is when we will work on improving the areas of our weakness. That is when we will shape up our attitudes. And that is when we will work on our goals. So ambition is extremely important. And as youngsters, the more ambitious you are, honestly speaking, the better it is. The third element is, as we work towards as we put in efforts with the discipline, as we pursue our ambition, it is quite possible, and it is a natural fact, that we will face setbacks. We will face disappointments. We will face challenges. I don't want to use the word failure. We will face all these things. It is natural. It happens to the best of people. अभी इंग्लैंड में क्रिकेट टीम का हाल देख रहे हो ना, 76 ऑल आउट होकर आए हैं. It happens to the best. And that is why resilience is very, very important. The ability to bounce back from failures, or the ability to bounce back from setbacks, is very, very important. There's no point just running away. एक बार नहीं हुआ, चलो अभी ठीक है, छोड़ दूंगा, या मैं छोड़ दूंगी इसको. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता है. You must have seen endless number of videos on YouTube or even on WhatsApp where one athlete, अभी Olympic Games खत्म हुए हैं, they came, 4th or 5th or 10th in one race 10 years back, or 14, 16 years back. They ran, they practiced, they did it again and again and again. Today, probably they have won the gold medal or the silver medal. Those are all examples of resilience. And all successful people we look at are resilient. Everybody faces setbacks, guys. Even a Ratan Tata faced a setback as far as the nano car was concerned. All of us face setbacks. So it is important that we build resilience. And the last capability that is required to unlock our potential, and how do we do it? The fourth element is having the energy. We need to be at it again and again and again. And nobody exemplifies energy better than this lady on the picture, Mary Kom. She started boxing, then she got married, she became a mother, she took care of her children, but she still kept coming back to represent the country. She faced setbacks, she faced injuries, but she again bounced back. Her energy to bounce back and do what she loved is something that we all can learn from. So these are the four important things, in my view: discipline, ambition, resilience, and energy. So I call it the DARE framework. Do we dare? If we dare, we will be able to unlock our potential. So we saw the why of why we need to unlock our potential. Then we looked at how we can do it, which is four things. Now we will look at what is it that we exactly need to unlock our potential. The first is what I call self-realization. And what do I mean by self-realization? Each of us has four dimensions in our life. Okay. So we have a professional, for those, for those who are working, it is a professional. For you students, it is still a personal life. There is a social life we have. There is an intellectual life. There is an intellectual element in our life, and there is an emotional element in our life. We need to balance all the four. Personal life here is we need to first start taking care of our health. We need to spend time studying what we need to be studying. We need to be starting to plan what is it that we want to do with our life. The physical dimension of it and the intellectual dimension of it. Learning is something that we need to continuously be doing. Taking care of our health is very, very important. And in this whole COVID times, it becomes extremely more important. The second dimension is the social life. Do we meet people? How do we engage with others? ऐसा नहीं कि दिन भर बैठ के ऑल्ट बालाजी देख रहे हैं, वाहियात सीरियल देख रहे हैं, ऑल्ट बालाजी या टोनी कक्कड़ के गाने सुन रहे हैं और फिर बोलते हैं भैया हमें तो पता है वो ये गाने में ये वर्ड 128 बार बोलता है, इसमें मजा नहीं आता है. So social interaction is very, very important. So please take time, energy, and effort to focus on the social dimension. The third is the intellectual dimension. For you students, I would describe intellectual dimension as what is it that you are learning. There is so much to learn in today's age. Whether you want to do marketing, whether you want to take up chartered accountancy, whether you want to do an MBA, whether you want to do it in India or abroad, etc., whatever be your plans, there is so much to learn. And then comes the fourth dimension, which is your emotional dimension, where you pay attention to your own thoughts. What is it that you are doing? How can you be of any help to others? Even as students, you can be. And we'll see, I'll come to how that can be done. So ये चार dimensions अपने life के आपको realize करने चाहिए. You can't be a bookworm who just sits and studies. Neither can you be a person who is just focusing on their physical fitness and saying कि चलो मैं तो मंदिर चला जाऊंगा, career set हो जाएगा. नहीं होता है. You have to balance all the four. And that is the second point. How do you actually build the harmony between these four? What do you focus on and how much do you focus on? So this is something that I have seen work for me, where I spend 50% of my time on myself and what my work is all about. आपको 60 करना है तो कीजिए, आपको 70 करना है तो कीजिए. Percentage में कोई ये नहीं है. There's nothing hard and fast about the percentage. You may want to spend 30% on something else, which is okay. But please make sure when you plan your day, when you plan what you do, you're spending time on all the four. Your personal, your social, your intellectual, and your emotional. Build that harmony. It cannot be 25, 25, 25 for each. It will change over time. It will change with age, which is also perfectly fine. But my request is don't neglect any of them. It is very, very important. So ये हो गया, हमने ये सेल्फ रियलाइज कर लिया और हमने एक हार्मनी भी ला ली. हमारी जो खुद की परसेंटेज है, we do that. So then what is it that we do? Then what is the third important thing that helps us? That is information. We are living in an age, especially you children are living in an age where there is so much of information available. It is very, very easy to get information about anything from anywhere in the world at the click of a button. This is something that we never had. And what is the information we seek? What use do we put it to becomes extremely critical. And the information that we seek, the information that we use will become far more important. It will become far more relevant when we are in the midst of the right kind of people. It is always said, I'm sure you would have seen on WhatsApp or LinkedIn or Google or something like that, people will say, you are the average of the 5 people who are there around you. It is important to be with the right kind of people. It is important to be with people who have a goal in their life. It is important to be with people who know their strengths, who appreciate their areas of improvement, who have a goal in their life. Their positivity, their enthusiasm will rub off on us. Our positivity, our enthusiasm will rub off on them. To that extent, I am glad that all of you are part of Marcus. You have a technical team here, you have a president here, you have conveners here. All of you have taken up some roles, you have taken up some responsibility. If there is a challenge, each one of you supports each other. It is very, very important to figure out the right people and support each other. Otherwise, information that we get is all over the place. So being in the midst of right people is very, very important. Imagine you are in a group where all people do is sit and cry. यार मेरी तो जिंदगी में क्या बताऊं, कुछ भी ठीक नहीं हो रहा है, पूरा दुनिया जालिम है, ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है. From the third day, we will also start thinking like that. And we will not unlock our potential. So please make judicious choices about the people in your life so that you get the right kind of information from them. And even when you go and seek information and give information to people, it is right and it is relevant. So when you have the right kind of people in your life, you get the right kind of feedback. And वो feedback लेने को, you should have the guts. Because people who will advise you have your interest at heart. And for this feedback to be effective, for this feedback to really work for you, it is important that you start communicating with people. I see some of you on LinkedIn, some of you have connected with me already. There's a lot of work that you guys are doing under the Marcos umbrella. It is good. It is important that you communicate. Communicate with the right kind of people, not that Facebook wala friendship karoge mere saath kind of things. इससे कुछ होता नहीं. Friendships तो बन जाते हैं मगर कौन है क्या है कुछ नहीं पता. Communication, information, feedback is very, very important. When you have the right kind of information, when you get it from the right kind of people, and you accept that feedback, or you listen to that feedback, it becomes easier to do the next thing, which is taking the right action. And one thing about taking the right action that has worked for me, of course, I also took a lot of time to realize this, is it helped me when I had a start line focus in what I needed to do. हम डेडलाइंस पे चलते हैं. प्रोजेक्ट कब सबमिट करना है? अगस्त 27 को. अरे आज तो 15 है, 12 दिन बचे हैं, 25 को स्टार्ट करेंगे, हो जाएगा. हर्ष कर देगा, तब तक हर्ष का लेके दोनों थोड़ा हम एडिट करके दे देंगे. 26 तक कुछ होता नहीं है क्योंकि हर्ष ने भी कुछ नहीं किया. हर्ष तो भैया नेटफ्लिक्स देख रहे हैं. तो फिर हमारे सर पे तलवार है. 27th को क्या करेंगे, 27th को क्या करेंगे. It is a deadline. And the moment we have deadline, it becomes more and more of a pressure on us. So my request to you is try this. Instead of looking at things from a deadline, start looking at it from a start line. When will I start these activities? What are the things I need to be doing when I begin this? It will actually help you complete things before me. It is working for me, I can assure. So the right action, and as they say, something well begun is half done. So when we begin well, when we start with a start line focus, it helps build the confidence of what we are doing, what we are investing our time and energy in, and that helps us complete what we need to do. That helps us bring out our strengths, that helps us achieve our goals, etc., etc. So those are the 5 things which are important: self-realization, harmony, information, feedback, and taking action. ये सब सुनने को बहुत आसान अच्छा लगता है, बहुत इजी भी दिखता है, but implementing it is very, very difficult. And that is why I call this the shift framework. We really need to shift our thinking if we need to unlock our potential. So that basically is what I wanted to cover. If I can quickly summarize, unlocking your potential, in my view, is the ability for us to be doing something probably throughout our lives. The ability for us to love doing it as long as we are doing it. And also the ability to laugh as we are doing it. And unlocking that potential requires an understanding of our strengths, our weaknesses, our attitudes, and defining our goals. And when that is done, we need to invest in 4 things: discipline, having an ambition, building resilience, not be affected by setbacks. Setbacks हर किसी को होता है बच्चों, हर किसी को होता है. The biggest of people face setbacks. We need to bounce back, and we need to have that energy to keep coming back again and again and again and again. So if you dare, you can unlock your potential. And what are the 5 things you need to do for that? How do you start this? Or what is it that you actually need to do? Self-realization, realize that 4 elements that you have in you. Build that harmony within those 4 elements. That is your professional, personal, social, emotional, intellectual. Build that harmony. Utilize the power of information that is available to you. And information is best utilized when you are in the midst of the right people. And when you're in the midst of right people, you get the right kind of feedback, using which you can take the right kind of action. And that is what the shift framework is about. So that's basically what I wanted to. If you do all this, then there is a greater chance that your potential will actually get unlocked. Because there is a purpose. And believe me, one more thing I want to say here at the end is potential is not about you deciding something at one stage and not changing it. That's fine. Our perspective towards life changes. That is okay. Today, I'm a consultant, I'm a coach, etc. But I never started off my career wanting to be one. We can unlock our potential as we go along. But ये जो मैंने discipline, day, shift वगैरह की जो बात की थी, it will help you, whatever be the potential you want to unlock at whatever stage in your life. I never knew when I started, see, I am 51 today. I never knew when I started working at the age of 25 that I wanted to become a coach. Coach क्या होता है पता भी नहीं था मुझे. I did a lot of things. I realized what my strengths were, what are the areas I needed to work on. I started setting some goals for myself, and that is where I found where I am today. Not all of us can become a Sachin Tendulkar, or not all of us can become a Neeraj Chopra. वो 15 साल की उम्र पता चल जाता है कि हमें क्या करना है. That is also a fact. But whatever is that we are doing, if we follow the DARE framework, if we follow the shift framework, even if we want to change midway through our life, it becomes much, much more easier. And we change because we want to do something more, not because we are scared of something and we have left it. So that's basically what I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much. I really hope it was relevant and useful for you. I will be stopping my screen share and then we can throw this session open for questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed an insightful webinar. Now let's move on to the question answer round. You may raise your hand or write your questions in the chat box. We'll give you a moment. Meanwhile, we did get some questions via our form, which we asked the students to fill. Yeah. So some of them are, how does a person be satisfied with what they are doing right now and also possess a desire to become better, of a greater success in life?
Okay. Now, this is a very philosophical question, but let me try answering it to the best of my ability. To my mind, if we are doing something well, okay, whatever it is, if we are doing something well, it basically gives us confidence that we are capable of doing something. It means we have some ability, it means we have some strengths. And as a human being, there is always an aspiration for us to get better. And that is what should fuel us to see how we can get better at what we are doing. Because if you're doing something, let's say we are here and we want to reach here. It is only when we are here and we start doing better will we reach where we want to be, or we will reach higher. So if we are doing something well, it actually becomes a sign of encouragement for us to do better. Satisfaction is required, but that doesn't mean we should stop. That would be my view.
All right, we have another question. When someone asks you what you want to become in your life, when you're discovering your strengths and weaknesses, then what is your answer to them?
So, okay, now this is a fairly tricky question. So, when you sit and discover your strengths and weaknesses, and believe me, it is not an easy thing to do. You think it, I mean, some of you might think that it is easy when you can do it, that you can do it when you're an adult, but it is even tougher at that time. So the way I would want to answer this question is, when you look at examining or when you want to figure out what are your strengths and weaknesses, it is important for us to reflect back. What is it that we are actually good at? What are the instances where we have bounced back from a setback in our life? And all of us have challenges. एक exam में fail हो जाते हैं. Next time we come back, write that paper well. It is very important for us to reflect back on what our strengths are, what are the areas that we lack in. And probably that can form the basis of the response we can give to people. That because I have these strengths, because I have these areas to work on, this is what I would want to be doing, and this is the way I would like to go about it. I hope that answers the question.
First of all, I would like to urge everyone to ask Sir questions, because this is the only chance that you have, and he is impeccably amazing at what he does. So this is my personal question to you, that if we are very passionate about something, but our family doesn't support us, then how do we pursue it? Because in my opinion, that's a kind of support which is very imperative. And if you have that support, then you do not need any other support.
That's a very valid question, Harsh. Now, there are 2-3 things we need to be very, very clear here. One is, when we are passionate about something, what does it actually mean? Okay. So one is being passionate about something. The second is the ability to do that extremely well. Okay. The third is the ability to earn a living out of it. ये तीनों चीज अलग होती है. Now, I am passionate about cricket. I am passionate about movies. Okay. And I live in Bombay. मुंबई में रहा हूँ 15 साल हो गया, आज तक करण जौहर ने एक बार नहीं बुलाया है. So that distinction is something that we will need to think of. Is what is my passion? It is good if we are passionate about something. Passion always does not translate into us having the talent or ability to do something that we think we will be able to do. And that's where we need to be very, very honest with ourselves. For example, I like playing the guitar. I could still pursue that passion. Okay. It is quite possible I can pursue that as a passion. Maybe I need not even become a guitarist. Right? So we need to say where we stand on that scale. Otherwise, this whole thing about passion it's very abstract. Now, when I say, if I ask you, Harsh, why do you think you are passionate about playing the guitar or football or whatever, it's a very difficult thing to answer. So always my request is keep these 3 things in mind. What is the form of passion you have for something that you are doing? Okay. Is it something that you are ready to pursue, give up everything to do? Will you be able to put the discipline into it? I'm going back to what I described a few moments back. आप उसमें discipline रहोगे, उतना ambition रहेगा, उतना resilience रहेगा, उतना energy आप उसको दे पाओगे. that is something that we need to examine. Then, of course, we also need to be very clear, how is it that we are going to earn a livelihood out of it? Let's be practical. At the end of the day, we need to earn a livelihood out of what we are doing. Today, there are various avenues to do that, unlike the past. You could probably have a YouTube channel. You could probably run your own classes if you like guitar, etc., etc. You could do your job and continue your passion in that way. And just imagine, if you love playing the guitar, for example, would you be happy doing it throughout your life? Those are questions we will need to ask ourselves. We should not get swayed away by this whole passion business. That's my personal. Yeah, I hope I made my point clear, Harsh.
Yes, sir, totally. So another question that we have, and quite a few of them are asking, that how do we overcome rejection and disappointment, and how do we deal with negative criticism while pursuing our passion?
अगर ये तय है कि आप अपना पैशन फॉलो कर रहे हो, so that's a solid foundation to be on. Setbacks, failures is a fact of life, guys. There are no two ways about it. Okay. A lot of us today talk so much about failure, so much about mental stress, depression and this and that and all those kind of things. It doesn't really mean anything. Everybody will face setbacks. It is important that we should bounce back from the setbacks. And if we are passionate about something, we will bounce back. What we see as manifestations of success outside, unfortunately, we are also living in a world where, every picture looks perfect. Everybody posts only good things on social media. So stress ज़्यादा हो जाता है. We feel everybody is successful, but I am not. But that's not the case. Everybody faces failure. Everybody faces challenges. So if we are passionate enough, it is because we have that inherent strength and we have that inherent liking for what we are doing, it becomes easier, or it should become easier to bounce back. Coming to the other point of how do we deal with negative criticism? There are two kinds of criticisms that we get. One is a criticism which sounds negative, but it actually is right. And probably there is something in us to improve. So that is a feedback that we will need to take. It doesn't matter who is giving the feedback. As long as it is relevant for us, we will need to use it. And then the second kind of feedback is people are going to say something. Log hote aise hain. I mean, the world is full of different kind of people. Some people are out to criticize. If what they are saying doesn't make sense, there is nothing wrong in ignoring it. If you don't feel that that criticism is worth it, why waste time on it? Right? So that's my view on this.
Sir, there is a question in the chat box from Jatin Bansal. Sir, as I'm in the last year, I have 2-3 plans for my future. Sir, it is correct to have many plans or to just focus on one plan only?
So, Jatin, I'm not very sure what your plans are, but my view is it is okay if there is more than one plan. Okay, it's perfectly fine. But what I would request you to keep in mind is there something common that ties all these three things together? If that is there, it becomes much easier for you to move from X to Y in case X doesn't materialize, or you realize that this is not probably something that you would want to do. it's like, if just to give you an example, if I say अच्छा ठीक है मुझे कुछ अभी 2 महीने छुट्टी है, मुझे कुछ कोर्सेस करनी है. I do one course on GST, I do one course on cookery, and I do one course on something else. 3 unrelated, unconnected things. That will not help people in any way. That will not help you in any way. It's okay if you have 2-3 plans, but just see if they are connected. Even if they are not connected, apparently, are there skills that are common for all of these 3 which you can apply? Then it becomes easier for you to pursue one of them. Because at some point you have to detach. It is like the train ka engine. At some point you have to detach from one plan and pursue it. I hope that made sense to you.
Definitely so. So another question which we have from Manshu Negi is it okay to give up on things if we are not able to convert them into something useful, or should we just keep trying?
Not really. My view is if it is fine. I mean, if you think that it is not something that you really like doing, it is perfectly okay to let it go. That's perfectly fine. Because that is not a reflection on you. It is just not a reflection on you. You tried something, you put in your best efforts, and then you realize it is not something that you enjoy doing. Remember what I said, whatever we do, we have to like doing it. I become a doctor, or I want to aspire to be a doctor, and I put in all the efforts. I have to realize that this is something I'll be doing for the rest of my life. If I don't enjoy it, or I feel that I may not be able to enjoy it, what's the point of doing? There is nothing wrong in, switching back rather than doing something, not enjoying it, blaming the whole world. Papa, mummy ne bol diya, maine kar raha hu. That really doesn't help anybody. It's fine.
The next question is from Anika Kapoor. We are confused in life regarding our career choices and are not really sure where our passion lies. In such a case, how can someone still develop and unlock their complete potential?
So 2-3 things here that I would like to say is, it does look confusing. Okay. How do you actually start off unlocking your potential? But I think a simple way to start looking at it is to examine your strengths. What is it that you are good at? Now, when you look at your strengths, it comes in 2 ways. One is, what is the apparent strength that you have? And what is the hidden strength behind it? If I can just give an example to highlight what I mean. Let's suppose I am good in mathematics. Okay. Now, I never was, to be honest. But chalo, maan lete hain. Okay. If you are good at mathematics, okay, that's a strength. You obviously are going to score more in the subject. Your average will go up. You would aspire to become an engineer, computer science, this, that, whatever. That's an apparent strength, being good at mathematics. But the hidden strength behind it could be the fact that you are good at solving problems. The hidden strength behind it could be the fact that you are able to concentrate. The hidden strength behind it could be the fact that you are creative and you could solve the problem in 3 or 4 steps, whereas what is there in the textbook is 8 or 9 steps. So what is our true strength is something we will need to examine. And then we can say, or then we probably will be clear, कि mathematics मेरा strength है क्या, या creativity और problem solving मेरा strength है क्या, जिसको मैं आगे बढ़ाना चाहती हूँ या चाहता हूँ. That will give us far more clarity. Otherwise हम मैथ्स को लेके बैठ जाएंगे. 12th standard में मैथ्स बहुत टफ होता है, and then suddenly we say नहीं हमें बीकॉम करना है. एंड बीकॉम में पहुंच गए, यहाँ भी अकाउंटेंसी है यार, ये भी मैथमेटिक्स ही वो, तो लेने के देने पड़ गए. So it is important to see what is the apparent strength we have and what is the reflective or what is the hidden strength we have. That will help us map what is it that we are actually good at. That's the first thing. Second thing is, it is important also to take a feedback, and that's where teachers play a huge part. Because they come with tremendous experience of observing you throughout your academic life. It is important to take their insights, information, feedback I spoke about, being with the right people. They are the perfect example of right. If we do these things, we will get a better insight. Not that complete वो mentors के तरह खाया और सब clear हो गया, बत्ती चलता नहीं है, okay? But at least थोड़ी बहुत clarity मिलती है. Then of course there are various things. Will we be able to spend so much of time doing this? Do our parents have the financial wherewithal to support us to do all these things? Are we ready to invest so much of time in doing this, etc., etc.? All those factors also come into play. But that's a good starting point.
It is a question from Chirag Nagpal. What are job opportunities abroad?
So I'll kind of share my views here. I'm not an expert on the job scene, etc., abroad, but based on what little I see and what little I notice is there always will be an opportunity for jobs abroad. Okay. But what is more important is to figure out what are the kind of skills that are required for us to land a job over there. Because these skills keep changing. That's the first part. The second part is it is also important to understand which geography are we going to. What is it that we want to pursue abroad as a career? Does it require experience, prior experience, or does it not require prior experience? Does it require for us to go and do some study before we can work over there? That's the second dimension that we need to look at. The third dimension we will need to look at is that something that we actually want to do? Is it going abroad important for us, or doing something that we like important for us? Or is it going abroad and doing what we like important for us? So these are a few things that I think we will need to keep in mind. Opportunities are always there. Opportunities are always there. Even now you'll find, like for example, so many students are now, you'll see, if you go to LinkedIn, you see so many people, youngsters putting up posts saying that I've got admission in this university, that university. So many youngsters say that I've joined Google, I've joined Microsoft. Opportunities are always there, but it is a question of we realizing what is it that we want to do. Do we have the skills? Do we have the strengths? Do we have the capabilities to capitalize on the opportunities? So I hope that answers your question.
The next question is from Abhishek Anand. Sir, sometimes we are not interested in doing what we are doing at. So how to find a middle ground between strengths and interests, or at least how to develop interest in our strengths?
Okay. Very good question. So how do we continue to keep motivating ourselves to do the same thing again and again and again and again? But this is a challenge not just youngsters have, but everybody has. And believe me, any job becomes monotonous beyond a point. आप बैंक में काम करोगे, दिन भर वही करना पड़ता है. आप आईटी कंपनी में चलो जाओगे, कोडिंग ही करना पड़ेगा या सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग ही करना पड़ेगा या जो भी है। आप सेल्स में जाओ, झोला लेके बाहर जाना है, बेचना ही है। आप मार्केटिंग करो, मार्केटिंग में भी वही रहता है। एचआर में जाओ, एवरी जॉब, एवरीथिंग दैट वी डू इज रूटीन गाइस। I have to coach people. It's the same thing I have to do every day. I have to get into telephone calls with people, work with them. I have to facilitate training programs for organizations. I have to work on the content. I have to deliver the training. Every job is monotonous. It's important that we realize that everything requires a set pattern of working, and that is something that is inherent in everything. It is not like a hotel menu where you have different things that you can have. होटल मेन्यू भी क्या होता है, 50 आइटम है तो 51st आइटम नहीं है ना, पुराना फर्स्ट आइटम फिर से खाना पड़ेगा. Even if you eat the different items every day, if you go to the hotel and eat something, on the 51st day you have to eat the same thing. Unless you go to a new hotel where nothing is going to be new. I mean, घुमा फिरा के वही रेसिपी होता है हर जगह. So one is, let us be very clear that the so-called monotonous thing, let us remove from our mind. All jobs are repetitive. विराट कोहली की भी जिंदगी रिपीटेटिव है, क्रिकेट ही खेलना है इसको. He can't say, अरे नीरज चोपड़ा जैवलिन फेंकता है, मैं भी फेंकना शुरू करूंगा अब से. नहीं होता है. So everything is going to be repetitive. That's the first fundamental base. It may not be something that we want to hear, but that's a fact. How do we sustain that interest? The sustaining of that interest is to see how you can get better at what you are doing. That is where your goal comes into play. If I'm doing something, if there is a way in which you should be able to measure, for example, when you study, your marks are a decent way of measuring how well you are doing. If you are running, the speed at which you run, the time you take to finish whatever you are running, that's a measure on whether you are getting better or not. You want to lose weight, the amount of weight that you lose is a measure of that. So as long as we have that measure, and as long as we have a support system, we will find different ways of doing it. And that is where that information that we seek will come handy. If I can just take an example from Bollywood and illustrate this point. Last year, Manoj Bajpayee won the best. Two people won the Best Actor award. One among them was Manoj Bajpayee. And as we all know, he's a very good actor, right? Now, Manoj Bajpayee played the role of a policeman in that movie for which he won the award. Now, Manoj Bajpayee didn't play the policeman for the first time in his career. इसके पहले भी उन्होंने वो रोल प्ले किया. Almost every actor has played the role of a policeman. It would have been very easy for Manoj Bajpayee to say कि मुझे नहीं करना है ये रोल. When people came to him कि आप रोल करो, ये पुलिस ऑफिसर का रोल है यार, मैं तो कर चुका हूँ, हर कोई हीरो कर चुका है, मुझे नहीं करना है. He did something different in that. And that is why he was able to win the award. If he had not taken up at that opportunity, probably, or in all probability, he would not have won that award. So to summarize, things will get repetitive. But the fact is, if it is your passion, if it is something that drives you, you will set up goals so that you can get better at it. You will find innovative ways of getting better at it. When you have the right kind of people, they will give you the right guidance, and they will also give you the right kind of push to see that you get better. They can actually be an inspiration. You could become an inspiration for them. And that is how that improvement keeps coming. And that is how one keeps getting better at what we do. Yeah.
Moving on to the next question, I would like to inform that these are the last 4 questions that I'm going to take up.
Sure.
So the next question is, Sir, there are very few opportunities and high competition. How can we develop and be successful at the same time?
So now, opportunities are always scarce. The opportunities are many, but at the same time they are scarce. So that's a dilemma or an irony of it. The second is competition is intense. Probably you guys face more competition than I was then at other year. There is no denying that. And there comes the thing that what is it that we actually want to do? How do we work towards that? Even today, most of us aspire for a job. And if you see history, or if you see countries that have progressed economically in the last 50, 100, 200 years, it is countries where entrepreneurs have come up. That's something that we can look at. If you know, it's not the end of the world just to look at a job. We have some ability, some strengths, which can help us do something on our own. Then it really doesn't matter whether we have a job or not. That's one dimension or one way of looking at it. Second thing is, if we say, no, it is a job only that I want to do, that's also perfectly fine. Are we skilled enough for it? Do we have the necessary technical knowledge for it? Do we have the necessary soft skills that are required, the behaviors that are required? Will we be able to put up with the pressure that the job requires? Those are things we need to be very, very clear about. We can't say, मुझे sales में जाना है, but मुझे travel नहीं करना है. तो भैया नहीं होगा. So opportunities are there. Competition is extremely high. But yes, we need to examine if the job is the only thing that we want to do. And two, if that is the only thing we want to do, how good or how well are we placed as compared to what the requirements of that job are? That will give us an indication where we will need to work.
The next question is from Ria Mehra. If we are passionate about one thing, but we are not really good at it, then should we drop the idea of pursuing it or still follow the path?
See, Ria, my view here is if you are passionate about something, you feel you're not really good at it, okay? How you want to pursue it becomes relevant. If, for example, you paint and you enjoy that experience of painting, you can continue to pursue it. Whenever you have free time, whenever you feel that you need a break from what you're doing, you can paint. You can continue pursuing that if it gives you mental peace. हाँ वो पेंट करके आपका पेंटिंग 2 करोड़ में बिकेगा नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, चलेगा, that is fine. But at least it gives you that satisfaction of doing something. You could probably post it on Instagram. 2-3 people may like it, they may not like it. But if it's something that you are passionate about, you may not even bother about it. ये मैं अपनी खुशी के लिए कर रहा हूँ. But yes, if you want to paint and you feel that you are not really good at it, one possibility is you get better at it then. You start pursuing it as a career path, you learn painting, you invest time, energy, and money in it, and you get better at it so that you can pursue your passion. Or you just do it for the sake of, you like doing it, so you like doing it, that's it. Like, for example, I write on LinkedIn. I write a lot. That doesn't mean I want to become the author of a book and, do all that stuff. I don't have that aspiration. इतना ही लिखना है मुझे, तो मैं अपने satisfaction के लिए लिखता हूँ बस. So that's perfectly fine. I mean, and we need not excel in everything that we do. That's also another thing. If we are doing something because it gives us that bit of happiness, that's enough. That's fine. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Priya.
Yes, sir, definitely. So we have one last question. So if
Sure.
All right. Gunjan asks, sir, since you have done dual MBA, how did it help you in your career? Also, who should look forward to dual MBA specializations?
So, I mean, this is a very personal experience that I want to talk about. So when I started I did my first MBA in finance. Okay. So that was more because that was a subject that I liked. I did my BCom, and then when I got into my MBA, finance was something that interested and intrigued me. And so that's why I started doing my MBA in finance. The second one that I did, which is in general management, it came about after 20 years. Okay. And it was not something I did immediately. It came up when I had an opportunity to do it through my organization, the company that I was working for. So they shortlisted a few people based on certain criteria and said, would you be interested in pursuing an MBA? I said, fine, I would be keen on doing one. And at that time, general management felt better. And that's how I ended up doing that. How did it help me? Yes, it definitely helped me in ways more than one. Because I did my MBA in finance, then I got into banking. So obviously the concepts that I learned came in handy over there. Maybe not everything came in handy, but that's fine. At least it was relevant, it was useful. It gave me a foundation based on which one needs to develop, evolve, and improve upon. And this general management MBA also helped me to the extent that I was able to go back and reevaluate the basics. See, typically क्या होता है when you start doing MBA when you are young, वो exam pass करने के लिए लिख देते हैं. Because you don't have experience, you don't have a full import of what the entire subject is. But when I did it the second time, it helped me re-examine what is it that I learned. And it did help a lot. And in my work today, it again helps me a lot. So that is my experience of doing these two. There's a huge gap of 20 years between my two MBAs. So that's something, whatever experience I've stated, usko dhyan mein rakhiye aap, kitna bada gap tha usko.
So here we end our question answer round. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on, may I now request the president of Marcos, Abby Thomsonil, to give away the token of respect and vote of thanks to our much admired dignitaries and participants. Over to you, Abby.
Thank you, Harsh. The best and the most beautiful thing in the world cannot be seen or touched. They must be felt by heart. The sentiments of gratitude is one such. On behalf of Marcos, the Marketing Society of Maharaja Agrawal College, I would like to extend my gratitude to our main resource person, Sri Kumar Chandrasekharan, who could be acknowledged as one of the best speakers we have ever had. Thank you for enriching us. Each word you spoke created a deep impact amongst our audience. Your years of research and understanding about the topic and your ability to present the subject in such an interesting way produced one of the most memorable days for us. Thank you, sir, for enriching us. We are grateful to the governing body of Maharaja Agrawal College for their constant support in all our events conducted by Marcos. A special thanks to our principal, Professor Sanjeev Kumar Tiwari, for providing immense support in making this webinar a success. I extend my gratitude To our ECA convener, Dr. Debosmita Paul, for always being a pillar of support for Marcos. Thank you, ma'am. Furthermore, I would like to convey my gratefulness to the faculty coordinator, Ms. Sonam Bhati, for all her timely inputs and wise words, which have always helped us. We will ever remain grateful to you, ma'am. My heartfelt thanks to all the teaching and non-teaching staff whose valuable contributions, blessings, and support helped us to make this webinar a grand success. Moving on, I owe my special thanks to the coordinators of the event, Ms. Gunjan and Mr. Rishi, the anchors of the day, Mr. Harsh and Ms. Vishruti, for their involvement and their willingness to complete their tasks going far beyond their comfort zones. Last but not the least, I thank all the members of Marcos and the audiences for their interest in this year's webinar. Thank you very much for gathering here today. Over to you, Vishruti.
Thank you so much, Abhi. Now, I guess it's time to give a proper end to our webinar now. Thank you, everyone present here. We totally appreciate your presence. Now, before you leave the meet, our technical team is posting a feedback form in the chat box, which I would request all of you to fill. Certificates will be given to only those who fill the feedback form. Also, I would like to inform you that the form is open for the next 10 minutes only. Until then, our team is here in the meet to assist you. I repeat, certificates will be given to only those who fill the feedback form. So make sure not to leave without filling it. Thanks once again for joining us today. Looking forward to seeing all of you next time in person, I hope.